So the sign opposite of a sign shows the reaction from whatever planets or positions are in that sign, the first sign. So if you want to see the reactions to your sun sign, you want to look at the opposite point on the chart. If you want to see the reaction to your ascendant, then you look at the opposite point. And what is this? This is called the descendant. So today we're going to be talking about the reactions that you get to your ascendant. Basically, we're going to be looking at your descendant sign. And the reason why this works is because the opposition aspect is basically it's the 7th house, which is the sign of Libra. It's associated with the sign of Libra. And Libra is all about reactions. It's all about consequences, reactions, agreements, and it's all about others. So a lot of times your descendant will show how others react to you, and specifically to your ascendant, meaning your actions, your personality, your way of carrying yourself. So let's go ahead and go through each of the signs. And also you can look at the reactions to individual planets as well by looking at what sign is opposite and also which house. But let's start with Aries. So Aries ascendant, that means your descendant is in Libra. So the reaction that you get to your personality, your actions, and your identity is that you receive very strong social reactions because you have quite an impulsive, abrasive, and direct way of approaching things and a very single-minded way of doing your personal affairs and acquiring goals and achieving tasks. And so a lot of times what you'll receive is you will receive strong reactions or strong consequences sometimes. Like you may notice you get stronger consequences than other people, or you deal a lot with the law and you deal a lot with social consequences to your actions. And usually the consequences will take form of the reactions will take a verbal form because Libra is an air sign. So most of the time you will get very strong, opinions. Like everybody will try to give you their opinion on what you're doing, or like people will always be, weighing out the consequences of your actions. And they're always telling you like, alternatives, or they're trying to tell you what's the outcome going to be if you do this and why you shouldn't do it, or they try to judge what you did and give you social consequences. On the other hand, Libra is a very socially polite and a socially charming sign. So the reaction that you get a lot of times is that people tend to get really polite around you, or tend to be very charming when they see how like upfront, direct, and like subjective that you are, and how like single-minded you are. Like a lot of times people want to support you and partner up with you. That's what Libra is about. So people want to support you on your goals when they see that you're doing things. And sometimes your strong nature makes people become more polite, and they become like charming and submissive. That's what descendant in Libra is about. Libra is the natural sign that should be in the 7th house. So this is like a conjunction energy. So you will get particularly strong reactions from others and from your actions. So you can use this to your advantage, but also this could lead to particularly strong consequences from impulsive decisions and strong barriers to different goals that you keep running into. So that's really what Libra in the 7th house is about as well. So next up, we have the sign of Taurus. So that means your descendant is in the sign of Scorpio. Taurus is all about value, self-esteem, self-sufficiency, having everything that you need, and really not needing other people. Also being satiated. like having stuff. It can do with wealth. And generally, you're somebody that does things on your own. You tend to like have the resources to try to do things on your own, or you try to practically achieve things by yourself. Like, you don't like relying on other people too much if you don't have to. And in fact, people tend to more so rely on you in relationships and in friendships. But that's because you are a provider. But with the descendant in Scorpio, this means that the reaction that you get to your actions is that people can sometimes be envious of you. You have a lot of envy and haters because you are a valuable person in some way. You have value, you pursue value, or you accumulate value. That's what it means as a Taurus. And so whatever planets are in Taurus, the reaction of that is a lot of times people want what you have, or they are envious. The other thing is people could be trying to strategize on how to like either get a piece of what you have, or they try to I guess control you. Like, they want to like get you in a position where you have to work with them, if that makes any sense, especially in situations that you have partnerships or colleagues or whatever, or like you got like a boss. Like, every time you have an obligation to other people, they want to try to make sure that you do things the way that they want, because they know that you do things on your own and you go ahead and like become self-sufficient and you don't need them for the most part. So the reaction that you get is people do a lot of power ploys and a lot of strategic moves and try to get you involved in things and try to get you invested into things, and like almost kind of like trap you sometimes into an investment or into an agreement. Also with Taurus, this is the sign of money. And what's the saying that they say? You know, money is power. You know, money brings power. That's what they say. And this is exactly this descendant reaction. This is what it means. Scorpio is power. So as a valuable person, or as such a self-sufficient person, the reaction that you have is that the outcome of this is that you tend to have a lot of leverage over others, and you have a lot of leverage in your relationships and power over others. So your strength is your relationships and your partnerships, because you are the one that comes in with value in most cases, because that's just what you are as the sign of Taurus. And you're a feminine sign, and you're a feminine earth sign. Feminine means internal, earth means matter. So you have internal matter, so you have stuff that matters. What is that? Value. So you just naturally will always be the person that has value in an exchange, but this allows you to have leverage over other people's values, other people's resources and whatnot. So this is buying power in a way. This is social buying power. This is personal buying power. So again, money is power. That's the best way to explain the Taurus to Scorpio relationship. So yeah, I think I got most of it. So yeah, that's Taurus ascendant, and that's the reaction that you get. Next up, we have Gemini ascendant, or Gemini planets. So the reaction that Gemini gets is Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is the opposite. It's in the 7th house. So with your descendant in Sagittarius, as a Gemini, this means that the reaction that you get is that you tend to inspire people and give them a direction. So Gemini is about communication, ideas. It's about our intellect, our mind. So as a Gemini, you are quite a communicative person, and you speak a lot, and you speak your mind, or you are somebody that's really revolved around ideas, and you think a lot for yourself, and you generate, intelligent new ideas and opinions. And the reaction that you get is people tend to feel inspired around you, because that's Sagittarius. They tend to feel motivated, or like they get a new direction, because Sagittarius is all about direction. And they tend to, I guess, be entertained or feel like they're going on an adventure around you. So Gemini can a lot of times be about gossip and minute information, small information about relevant topics going around in the environment or in the local community and stuff. So people tend to like feel entertained and inspired and motivated, and like they get new opinions and new ideas whenever they interact with you, because that's the reaction that you get to how you carry yourself, how you communicate, how that your personality is. So yeah, that's Gemini. Next up, we have the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is the sign of emotions. It's the sign of care, nurturing, and it's also a sign of creativity and creative projects. And usually these are private creative projects. This is not the type of project that is at the stage that it's being revealed to the world. So it's the creative process. But the outcome or your reaction that you get is your descendant in Capricorn. Or if you have planets in Cancer, the reaction is Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of other people's emotions. And it's also the sign of responsibilities, restrictions, duties. And as a Cancer, your disposition is to be quite reserved and private until you get to know somebody. But you are also very empathic. So in a way, you're protecting your empathic vulnerability. But you connect with others on an emotional level. And the reaction that you tend to get out of other people due to your reserved nature is that people tend to act very serious around you. That's what Capricorn is about. It's the authority sign. It's the sign of seriousness, duties, responsibilities. And a lot of times you also attract other people's emotional baggage and emotional responsibilities. Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer, and Cancer is our emotions. So Capricorn is other people's emotions. So the reaction that you get a lot of times due to your emotional nature is, you take on a lot of other people's emotional baggage, and you start to feel responsible for a lot of things, because other people put a lot of responsibility on you. Your relationships can be a source of responsibility in your life. Your friendships can sometimes feel like that, just because of your empathic nature. But the next thing is, let's see. Like I said, yeah, people tend to act sometimes more serious around you, and they do it to protect your empathic nature as well. They don't want to like threaten you or scare you or make you feel uncomfortable. So the reaction is they get really, I guess, what's the word for that? I said serious, but there's a different word. They get like really responsible around you. And it's like people try to show you their status or why they're trustworthy and stuff. People always want to try to show you why they're like responsible, good people, and like how you can depend on them. And sometimes people want to take care of you a lot of times. That's what Capricorn is about, because it's the authority figure. but a lot of times it's in like a authoritative or a serious way. Like they try to boss you around, but they just want to like take care of you and stuff. And you're not a sign that listens that much, because you really listen to your own heart. And this allows you to connect with people that are misunderstood and like understand and empathize with situations and people that are not recommended, that people will like try to steer you away from, but it's just your empathic nature. So yeah, people try to like boss you around or be an authority figure. It's because they try to care for you sometimes, and they want to connect on that emotional level as well. So this is what Capricorn in the 7th house is about. And also this is the reaction of other people's, of other planets that you have in Cancer. If you have any planets there, the reaction that you get is people tend to be critical. They want to be in a authority or try to tell you what to do, or they just have like this serious dull reaction. They're very non-reactive around you. They don't get too hyper at all. They don't like exude too much energy, because they want to match your smooth, comfortable energy, and they don't want to like throw off your vibe, because you're an empath and you have this reserved nature. So this is just how people react to the planets that are in Cancer, or to your ascendant especially. So yeah, that's Cancer. Hopefully that made sense. I'm kind of all over the place with that one, but yeah. Next up, we have Leo. So Leo is the sign that has to do with ego. It has to do with our character, our role that we play in this life, and our value to others. It has to do with our ability to entertain others, also to lead others in a fixed way, because it's a fixed sign. So this is a position of leadership a lot of times. And this is just kind of the role that you play. You play like the role of the leader a lot of times in various ways, whatever way that life requires of you. But you are bold a lot of times. That's what Leo is about. And you're just somebody that's expressive and that is inspiring or entertaining. Sometimes you can be dramatic. Or the reason that you do things is you always want to bring value to others. Like, even if you are a introverted Leo or a not outgoing Leo, you're somebody that does everything to bring value to others, or to bring attention to the opinions and to the things that you feel matter. So you can be like an advocate to a certain extent. But the reaction that you get is your descendant, right? Or if you have planets in Leo, the reaction that you get is the opposite sign. And what is this? This is Aquarius. So a lot of times, the reaction that you get is you make a lot of friends as a Leo. Leo is one of the most, the signs that makes the most friends. It's literally associated with the 5th house, which has to do with romance, dating, pleasure with others, sports, games, fun. So you literally make a lot of friends and you gain a lot of social support. But in the most direct sense, Aquarius is the sign of logic. So the reaction that you get to your actions is you get like really logical reactions. Like, people always come to you with logic. Whenever you do something, they like give you this some sort of logical breakdown. And it's usually verbal in nature, or they'll try to support you with some logical support system, or like some logical analysis. So you could notice that when you're having conversations with people, or like whenever you're trying to do stuff in your life, people in your significant others and significant people in your life, they react by giving you this logical breakdown. And anyways, the last thing is that people tend to act really humble around you. Aquarius is the sign of humility and of the collective. And when people sense your big ego, or the fact that even if you don't have a huge ego, which you probably do, this just means that you're confident and you have a big role that you want to play. But the reaction to this is that people tend to humble themselves around you. Like, people are okay with you having a big ego. Or sometimes what will happen is, let's see, the fact that you want to be a leader makes it so that you gain like a community around you of humble people, like people humble themselves around you, if that makes any sense. Aquarius is the most humble sign, and it's the downfall of the sun. The fall of the sun sign. So, or I should say debilitated, I think. Debilitated sun, because it's all about humility and it's all about others and the whole group. So people will just follow you. That's what I'm trying to say in short. And yeah. Anyways, that was Leo. That's the reaction that you get. Next up, we have the sign of Virgo. So Virgo is a very analytical sign. It's a very contemplative sign. And what you contemplate is you contemplate a lot of material matters, practical matters, real life matters, real life situations, real life responsibilities. So this is the sign of thinking about all your tasks, your responsibilities, thinking about life, real life duties. It also has to do with your routine, your habits, your work, your job, and your service to others. And it's very detail-oriented. It's very perceptive. A lot of times Virgos have very good eyesight, just as a physical manifestation of this trait. But you tend to be timid as well, and you tend to be very self-critical and very critical of others, because you want things to be perfect, and you're like a perfectionist. And Virgo is the sign of materializing things, materializing goals. It's the opposite of Pisces. But that brings me to the reaction that you get, which is the sign of Pisces. So that's your descendant. So the reaction that you get to your actions is that people are literally unconscious of a lot of the things that you see and a lot of the details and the things that you do. So what this can look like is a lot of times you feel taken for granted. And the way that you go about things is you like serving others and you like doing things well. And you create a subconscious reaction. Like, you create like a movie for people, I guess. Pisces is about media and movies, and it's about art and creativity. But when I say you create a movie for people, I mean like you create like this ideal outcome. You create this really ideal product or service, and there is a subconscious appreciation, but people are not aware of all the details that it took to get into it. So a lot of times your actions can get lost. It's like they don't realize the work that went into it, if that makes any sense. So Pisces is the sign of unconsciousness. But yeah, a lot of times also the way people react to you is by being timid and like hiding away, like hiding things away from you, because you are quite critical and you just have this perceptive way about yourself that this is your aura. You're really like critical and perceptive. So people will react to you unconsciously by just like hiding away different things that they don't want you to see. And so the fact that you notice things that aren't such a big deal to others, or that it goes unseen, this makes you feel not as seen. So that's really what the reaction is of the descendant being in Pisces. And also the reaction that you can get to your actions is that it feels like it's hard to contain the outcomes of things. Like, it feels like you're trying to contain, like, loose water when it comes to life. Like, it's always like there's something that can run off or that can spill or leak, if that makes any sense. It's like you're trying to hold a bunch of water with your hands. And every detail that you do is like there is some alternative outcome that brings up a million other details that you can try to materialize or try to fix, if that makes any sense. That's what Pisces is about. It's like the unlimited. It's the imagination. It's the realm of possibilities. So there could be a lot of confusion or overwhelm by the small things of life when you have the Virgo planets or the Virgo ascendant, and then the reaction always is that there's always like an alternative, there's always another detail, something else to dig into, if that makes any sense, and try to fix. But yeah, that's Virgo. Next up we have Libra planets and Libra ascendant. So Libra is an air sign, and it's the sign of social intelligence. The reaction that you get from others or from your actions is you tend to bring out people's individuality, because this is the sign of Aries. This is the sign that is opposite of Libra. So any planets that are in Libra, or if you have the ascendant in Libra, the reaction is that people tend to get very comfortable being themselves around you. And also you put people at ease to act freely. You encourage others and spark that motivation in them to get things done or to accomplish things. And Aries is the opposite sign than what should be in the 7th house. So a lot of times as a Libra, you won't get very strong reactions, or it will feel like nothing happens unless somebody is an initiator or somebody is the person that takes the first step or takes the first action. So you a lot of times have to influence others with your charmingness or your charm, I guess, and your social intelligence in order to get people to start to act. And another thing that this could show with Aries being your descendant is that sometimes people can get too comfortable around you and start to act abrasive or distasteful or too impulsive around you and too freely when they see your nice and pleasant demeanor. And sometimes they may think that you're a pushover, but that doesn't have to literally be the case. So sometimes you can have conflicts arise from people getting way too comfortable around you, or being too impulsive, or being too selfish, or too subjective, or like straight up sometimes mean, or they could be what's the word for that? Piercing. Like their attitude could be so like abrasive, I guess. That's the best way to put it. So yeah, the other thing is that you tend to bring out people's individuality and their personality. You tend to see their true selves. That's just the reaction from your pleasant, charming, and socially intelligent way of doing things. And so you are a mental sign too, because it's an air sign. So you're weighing out consequences. And the way that you act and the way that you interact with others, the reaction is that people show you their individuality, their true selves, their identity, their personality. That's what Aries is about, being in the 7th house. So, or just being the opposite of a Libra planet. So anyways, yeah, that's Libra. So next up, we have the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is the sign of secrets, of desires, of motivations, passion, and strategy, but not really strategy in such a mental way. It's more so of a under the surface, secretive way. So it comes off as pretty strategic, but really what it is that you act in a private way, a secretive way, in order to manifest desires and goals. Manifestation always happens in secret or in private. So Scorpio is the strongest sign for manifestation, as along with the other water signs, but particularly Scorpio. So anyways, the reaction that you get from any planets that are in Scorpio, or from the ascendant being in Scorpio, is you have the descendant or the opposite sign being Taurus. So you have a strong desire nature, and you desire a lot of things, and you have a lot of motives and things that you want. And part of how you go about life is you go about life through your motivations and your desires, like the things that you want. So the outcome of this is Taurus, wealth, or material things, goals. And you a lot of times acquire other people's wealth and other people's things through your actions. So a lot of times this could be exchanges and business. But Scorpio a lot of times is also to do with shared assets. And so you have leverage over other people's things, and you have a say in other people's possessions and things when it comes to, relationships and significant others and people in your life. And a lot of times you will receive stuff from others. That's what the reaction from Scorpio planets is about. Now, on the other hand, Taurus is a very reserved sign and very self-sufficient, very fulfilled and content sign. It's the sign of wealth. So a lot of times the reaction that you can get to yourself is that people can feel like very closed off from you. It feels like they don't need anybody, they don't need help, or they don't need you, or that's how they will come across. They will like kind of bubble themselves off, kind of like the wealthy rich kind of person type of thing, the bouginess kind of effect, if you know what I'm saying. That's what Taurus is really about. So that's a lot of times the reaction that you get, like from others, just how you are, or different planets that you have in the sign of Scorpio. Now, on the other hand, like I said, people can give you stuff, but for the most part, it's gonna be about, them bubbling themselves off. So, hi. On the other hand, let's see what else. I think I got most of it. But yeah, Scorpio is all about acquiring things, taking things. So through your strategic way of going about life, you just accumulate a lot of things. That's just the reaction that you get from your actions or the planets that are in Scorpio. And you accumulate people's value as well, their stuff. People give you money, different things like that. Sometimes people take care of you or support you, or just take charge of different things that you have, because Scorpio is the sign of lack. So even if you are not literally lacking in life, like lacking stuff, or you're not poor or something, you just have such a strong desire or strong motivation to acquire things that this is always your mindset to a certain extent. This just allows you to accumulate more and more stuff. But yeah, that's Scorpio. And also going back to manifestation, the outcome of your actions or of your ascendant is you just materialize a lot of things. Taurus is the material world. The next sign is Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is all about our beliefs, our opinions, our convictions, and higher law, what we think is right versus wrong. But generally speaking, Sagittarius is about our ability to communicate with others that are different than ourselves. So this is why it has to do with languages. It has to do with knowledge as well, and teaching, as well as learning. So Gemini is the opposite of Sagittarius. And before we get into the reaction that you get, let me explain what Gemini is. Gemini is our intellect, our mind. It's the things that we think, it's our ideas. And so Sagittarius is the minds of others. It's what other people thought of, other people think. And this is what knowledge is. Every time you read a book, you're reading what somebody else thought and what somebody else wrote about. So as a Sagittarius planet, or a Sagittarius rising especially, you have this innate ability to communicate with the ideologies of others, or to communicate directly into the minds of other people, if that makes any sense. You are talented at teaching and learning. So the reaction that you get, which is your 7th house, is Gemini. So a lot of times people get a lot of ideas around you. Even if you're not teaching, and even if you're not somebody that's spreading some sort of knowledge, or that's communicating, just the way that you act, people tend to feel very inspired by you, because you're always on a search for the truth, or you're always on a search to experience new things. Now, the other thing is that people feel like they're moving a lot around you. You bring a lot of movement into people's lives, because Gemini is the sign of movement, and of excitability, I guess. So you excite others, and you inspire ideas in people, and also people can tell you they feel like you move them a lot, you guys do a bunch of things, because you're always off to some different adventure as a Sagittarius. Even if it's an intellectual adventure, you're always trying to find out something, and you always want to go to the next level up. You always want to find out the truth. And just like I said earlier as well, the way that you communicate, it's you communicate in a way that's directly to the minds of others. So you directly influence people's ideas and thoughts, because you just know how to talk in a way that other people will understand and relate to. Anyways, that's what Sagittarius is about. And that's why the reaction, like I said, is that people get a bunch of ideas around you. And a lot of times people will come and respond to you with their own ideas, their own opinions. So people will respond to you with conversations. So as a Sagittarius, you can have a lot of long conversations with people, because it's everything you say, people always have their own thing to respond with, their own idea and stuff. So, yeah. So next up, we have the sign of Capricorn, and planets in Capricorn as well. So what is the reaction that you get? Well, Capricorn is the sign of responsibility, restriction, duties, and of time. The planet Saturn is associated with the sign of Capricorn. It's the ruler, and Saturn is all of those themes, and it's all about materializing things in a practical and patient manner. And it's all about consequences and responsibility. So as a Capricorn, or with planets in Capricorn, these placements will have to do with your status, your position, and areas of life where you are responsible for others. The sign of Cancer is our emotions, and the sign of Capricorn, which is the opposite, shows the emotions of others. So, when we have achievements, recognition, all of these things are things that revolve around how others feel about us, if that makes any sense. So Capricorn is all about doing the things that matter to others, that affect the emotions of others. that people feel strongly about. So that's why they're so oriented around success and achievement. And that's also why they're so reserved and serious and responsible, because they don't want to mess up how other people feel or disrupt others. And also they want to gain the best favor of the opinions of others. And this gives them status, success, achievement. And this makes them a dependable, trustworthy source that people literally entrust their safety and their lives to. This is why Capricorn has to do with government as well. Anyways, the reaction that you get is the opposite sign. And so any planets or the ascendant, the reaction from others is the sign of Cancer. So as a particularly serious or responsible placement, the reaction that you get is people tend to be more reserved, shy, or timid around you. You may notice this, especially Capricorn ascendant. But regarding any planet that you have in Capricorn. So for example, if it's Mercury, like whenever you communicate or speak your ideas, they come off quite high status and quite authoritative, if that makes any sense. They come out like a example that others should follow whenever you share your ideas, and people react by feeling more reserved, timid, shy. That reaction has to do with the sign of Cancer. Just the fact that you carry this authoritative energy, and as well Capricorn is very critical and very self-critical as well. Capricorns are pretty self-critical. And what else did I want to say? They hold themselves to very high standards. So your aura is quite a self-critical aura, and when people are around you, they tend to become shy or timid because they don't want to disappoint you, or they don't want to fall short of your high expectations, because you seem to have such high expectations of yourself. So people tend to retreat into their shell a little bit around you. And the reason why is because Capricorn has to do with the father figure. Capricorn and Saturn is the sign of the father, the planet of the father, especially an authoritative father or parent figure. So people don't want to disappoint you, so they tend to get more timid around you. And they don't want to fail to meet up to your expectations for the most part. That's why Capricorn placements will tend to get a timid or reserved response. But people tend to let you take responsibility of things and to care for them. That's really what Cancer being in the descendant is. And yeah, so just the fact that you hold yourself to such high standards and you take yourself really seriously, this makes people react by also feeling like they're being held to high standards when they're around you, so they feel like timid just because it's your aura, you know. You may notice that unless you have some different planets that counteract this. But yeah, so next up we have the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is quite a humble sign, and it's because when you have planets or the ascendant in Aquarius especially, you tend to act in a way where you weigh out the perspectives of all people. Like, you act in a way that collectively makes the most sense. So everything you do is of a logical nature, meaning everything you do keeps in mind what the general consensus is and what the whole collective is doing. So sometimes you can be innovative and you could be ahead of the curve because you do things that put in perspective what other people are doing, and you do things that would make more sense, because you approach things very logically. But also, you are quite humble, so whenever you act, or the way you think of yourself, is you just think of yourself as one of many. So the reaction that you get, which will be shown by the opposite sign, is you get Leo. So your descendant is in Leo, or if you have planets in Aquarius, how others react or the outcome is Leo. People tend to feel more comfortable being expressive and expressing their feelings, and also showing their ego, so how they think of themselves and who they really want to be and the role that they want to play. It's because you have a humble aura to a certain extent, and so people get comfortable showing their ego around you, and this can be quite entertaining to you, and it also can be fun because people feel more expressive around you, and you are supportive of that. But also, you are an advocate of things that you believe matter. So everything you do is always revolved around logic, like I said, and you are adamant about the things that need to be improved in society, in your community, and especially in your personal life. You will always do what makes the most sense and what is the most just, because again, this is that wider, broader perspective of thinking that you have. You immediately can see when something does not make sense, because it breaks, the philosophy of it will break when it comes to a collective level, you know? So when you compare it to, when you put everybody into perspective, you'll realize when a law is unfair, or when you'll realize when a system is bullshit, you know, like you realize everything that's wrong. And you step out of the collective comfort zone to do things in a more innovative, logical, and correct way that will set you ahead. And you always are about self-sufficiency and not relying on authorities. So you will do things yourself, especially with the planets that are in there, or especially as an ascendant. So this can lead you to step out of the collective comfort zone, because the collective comfort zone is Capricorn. Capricorn is the emotions of other people. So this is where people feel comfortable staying. It's like the corporate world. It's the structure. It's the government. It's also, collective norms. Kind of like, with Cancer being the opposite of Capricorn, this shows our own personal emotions, our own family, our own comfort zone. And, within our family, there's certain belief systems, there's certain ways of doing things, certain pathways that we are encouraged to take. And, when we do our own thing, when we step out and pursue our own motivations and passions, this can rub our family the wrong way. So it's the same way with Aquarius being the opposite. It's the exact reflection of this, which would be stepping out of the societal comfort zone. So you do things that align with your higher goals and interests, and that align with what makes sense and what is right. And you do things that are unique and individualistic and intelligent. So this can rub people the wrong way. So a lot of times the reaction that you get from others is you will get emotional reactions as well. So that's what Leo's about. It's about emotional expressiveness. So you will see other people's values. You bring out people's values and passion, and you actually inspire debates sometimes, or more of the time you can inspire people to be motivated about a certain cause, just because you're doing something that rubs them the wrong way, or you do something that they align with and they could possibly support with sometimes. But that's really what Aquarius is about, and that's the reaction that you get. You see people's emotional convictions and their emotional expression sometimes based on your advocacy and the things that you do that are different. And you kind of disrupt the industries. You disrupt the way that people do things. That's a lot of times what happens in technological fields or in the business world. As soon as somebody does something different or that's innovative, it actually would disrupt everyone else. And that's the same thing with stepping out of the comfort zone of the family. Whenever you do something way better than what your family had in mind for you, or whenever you think bigger, now this forces your whole family to rethink their own philosophy, you see? And this is what disruption is about. And Aquarius and the planet Uranus are about disruption. Anyways, this is getting kind of long, so I'm pretty sure I got most of it though. And so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. But yeah, hopefully that was interesting. Other than that, I'll see you guys in a future video. So the last sign that we have is Pisces. Pisces is all about creativity, the subconscious mind, our vision, and our mental vision of the future, our ideals. It's the sign that shows our subconscious perception of the world. So the things that we assume, our assumptions. So right now, as you're watching this video, for example, maybe you're inside a room and you're not looking at the wall behind you, but just given the fact that you saw it earlier, you just assume that it's there, right? But who's to say that it's really there? That's just an assumption, but you know that it's there. That's what Pisces is about. It's just the assumptions that we do that allow us to connect to reality. You know, if you weren't sure that, if every time you weren't looking directly at the wall behind you, you weren't sure that it was there, then this would create quite a stressful reality, you know? So most of our reality is assumptions. And Pisces is that subconscious reality we create that's filled with assumptions and connections where we connect the dots. So, so it has to do with assumptions. And the reaction that you get is the sign of Virgo. That's in the descendant. That's your 7th house. So a lot of times people are very critical of you and different parts of yourself that you don't see, or that weren't apparent to you until they made it apparent. Virgo is all about criticism and also about trying to categorize things. So as a Pisces, you are quite free-flowing, but people will want to categorize everything you do. You're quite creative, and you have this ability to connect the dots in ways that people don't normally. So this is very good for art, music, harmony, anything of a artistic nature. And also just the way that you carry yourself, you don't really box yourself in or put categories on yourself. You really conform to what people expect of you and what will be their ideals. So you present yourself in a way that will conform to other people's ideals. And the reaction that you get is people always want to categorize you, or it's like they're always observing you or being critical of you. Virgo is all about observation. Now, Pisces is also the sign of our repressed inner prison, the things that we imprison within ourselves because they are aspects of ourselves that won't be accepted by others or that don't fit into the societal norms. So we just hide them away. It's like insecurities sometimes. So yeah, Pisces is also about the area of life where we feel misunderstood. So as a Pisces ascendant, you can feel alone or misunderstood just because of those hidden things that you hide away because you feel like they won't be accepted. So this could be quite a timid sign to have, and it's because of this reaction, which is that other people are always observing and criticizing you because you kind of stand out. You're quite creative. You're actually somebody that people copy a lot as well. Like people want to be like you sometimes. So the thing with Pisces though is that there's this fear of the criticism. So this is what can make you timid. But as a Pisces, when you get over the fear of what other people think of you, or you get over that fear of being criticized or judged, you actually become like a star or like an idol. So that's why Pisces has to do with movies, fame, and idealized figures, because it's really the creative people that fall into this category or this realm, and these are the stars of this world. So all those little repressed things are things that you may feel like will get criticized about yourself, or people will always try to, put it in a certain box or label it, or, try to make sense of it. And they're always picking at every single detail when you're a Pisces, because that's that Virgo being in the 7th house, like I said. And so if you use that to your advantage, you actually become a star. Like, you become like a celebrity. It's like people are always watching you and picking you apart. And that's exactly what celebrity is about. And even any normal person that becomes famous, you will receive the Pisces treatment. You will receive the 7th house in Virgo, which means you will be picked apart by so many comments on social media. You will be picked apart by different media outlets. Like, it's just naturally the effect of Pisces, and Pisces is literally about fame. So anyways, hopefully that made sense. That's what Pisces is about, and that's the reaction that you get, which is Virgo. And any planets in Pisces will get the same effect. So let's say you had Mercury in Pisces. So this means that you have quite a assumptive mental process. Like, you are able to connect dots that other people don't, or you skim over a bunch of details in your mental process, and you come to conclusions that are a little bit out there, out of the box. So this is not the strongest placement for Mercury, because people can't relate too much to your thinking process. But what will happen is people are critical of your thinking process, because that will be the outcome. So people will criticize the things that you say, and criticize your ideas and point out flaws. That's what the Virgo being in the 7th house is about. So if it's Venus in Pisces, people would criticize your relationships and your love life. They'll think that, your relationship is not good or something, or they'll point out, how are you still putting up with this person? I see all these problems, but you are just perfectly fine. You are perfectly happy in that relationship. But this is just, again, the 7th house being in Virgo. Anyways, hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that was interesting. And other than that, I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.